Despite it being over 4 years old, the iPhone 13 continues to be a very viable and compelling device in 2026. So in this video, we're going to touch on all of its key characteristics, being user experience, cameras, specs, and design, to see just how well the iPhone 13 actually holds up here in 2026. To this day, the iPhone 13 still feels like a highly refined product. And this is probably because it was the first iPhone that not only had all the modern iPhone specs and design elements that we've come to take for granted today, but was also well optimized and delivered a frankly perfect feeling user experience. This is because the iPhone 13 was the very first incremental refining update for the still current iPhone design style that the iPhone 13's predecessor, being the iPhone 12, originally introduced a year earlier, which was the boxy, squared-off side design style featuring 6.1-inch OLED screens. The iPhone 13 made the already great iPhone 12 into an almost perfect iPhone, ironing out all the kinks and honestly kind of setting the blueprint for what we still have today with the iPhone 17. For me, there's only two noteworthy shortcomings the iPhone 13's user experience and design have here in 2026. The first of which being the notch at the top of the display instead of the dynamic island. The notch does make the phone feel a little less premium than a newer dynamic island supported iPhone. And the second of which is the lower maximum 800 nits brightness, while newer iPhones like the iPhone 17 for example can get all the way up to 3000 nits, which does make a noticeable difference when outdoors in direct sunlight. But besides that, it still largely feels like a new iPhone. Even having a max 60Hz display refresh rate isn't at all a deal breaker for me and won't be for 99% of people. The iPhone 13's display panel is still so good that Apple's current budget iPhone, the 16e, features the exact same display panel as the iPhone 13 here. They're not only identical from the front, but also feature the exact same specs. If you follow the iPhone's history closely, you'll notice that the most objectively close to perfect iPhones are always the incremental updates following after a major supercycle update, as these more iterative iPhone updates build on a usually great foundation and make it, well, perfect. And that's exactly what the iPhone 13 is. With its fairly slim display notch, its bright screen, and its good battery life, all things that got better coming from the previous gen iPhone 12, the experience of using the iPhone 13 just feels tight and well optimized to this day in 2026. And guys, can you believe this tracking drone fits right in my pocket? This is the Hover Air X1 Pro Max, which sponsored today's video, and if you're a content creator who documents your life on the go, the Hover Air X1 Pro Max is going to open up so many possibilities for you when shooting. Thanks to its 15+ auto flight shooting modes, you're able to effortlessly capture both you and your environment in just about any scenario. From cinematic shots like a scenic zoom out to dolly tracking shots, orbiting shots, in addition to a handful of other capabilities such as skiing mode, cycling mode, and more. It can shoot 8K video and has a follow speed of up to 26 miles per hour. With its multiple precise tracking modes and its dead accurate subject tracking, whether you're going out running, biking, or if you just want to document wherever you are, it's got you covered. You can confidently bring the X1 Pro Max anywhere because it has collision detection and an omni-terrain function which allows it to navigate seamlessly over water, snow, cliffs, and it works in low light environments. It can also shoot silky smooth 4K 120 frames per second slow motion videos, which allow for beautiful tracking and panning shots. You can also choose to shoot in either vertical or horizontal mode depending on the type of content you make. It works quite well in the comfort of your home too, with its indoor follow mode that follows and records you like a real-life camera person. And as much as using the auto flight modes is my preferred way to use the X1 Pro Max, you can also use the Hover Air app on your smartphone to manually control the drone and its camera settings if you want more granular control. You can also just monitor what you're capturing in real time using the Hover Air app as well. Having an ultra compact drone that you can pull out of your pocket and have mid-flight tracking and recording you in just a few seconds really does change what's possible as a content creator. So if you're looking to take your content creation to the next level in 2026, click on the link in the video description down below to check out the Hover Air X1 Pro Max, and huge thanks to Hover Air for sponsoring this video. the iPhone 13's dual 12 megapixel rear camera system still meets my needs for a smartphone camera in 2026. From its color-rich and plenty sharp 1x shots from the main lens, to its wide edge-to-edge 0.5 times ultra-wide shots, its ability to shoot 4K 60 frames per second video, and even the photos and videos from its totally passable 12 megapixel front-facing lens. Now, the only substantial area of insufficiency with the iPhone 13's camera is zoom. It unfortunately lacks any optical zoom capability. You can still digitally zoom anywhere between 1x and 5x maximum, but due to the limitations of the physical lens in the iPhone 13, it won't be as sharp as the optical 2x you get on newer iPhones like the iPhone 17, for example. And again, you can only digitally zoom in to 5x maximum for photos, where newer iPhones like the iPhone 17 are able to digitally zoom in to a much closer 10x for photos. And unfortunately, even if you choose to zoom in to a typical 1x photo after taking it, compared to a newer iPhone 17 photo, you'll immediately be able to notice less sharpness on the iPhone 13's image. All of these zoom and quality differences are a result of the iPhone 13 having a 12 megapixel main lens as opposed to the higher 48 megapixel main lens that the 2-generation newer iPhone 15 and later have. For the average casual photo or video you're likely taking with your iPhone, the iPhone 13 is still quite good, but if you care about punching in well beyond that, whether it's zooming in super close live or after capturing, the iPhone 13 does undeniably lack in this area, but for my use and a large chunk of the population who are less invested in having super close zoom on their smartphones, this won't matter much. It has a great camera system that certainly gets you the basics by today's standards, but not much more than that. We're in an age where every iPhone released within the last decade is really fast and fairly well optimized, so the only important factor to consider with iPhone processors is software update longevity. Based on Apple's recent track record, iPhones nowadays get around 6 to 7 years of major iOS update support, and considering the iPhone 13 with its A15 chip is currently on its 5th major iOS version with iOS 26, it'll likely receive 1 to 2 more years of major iOS update support, which is quite impressive, especially if you got it back in 2021 or 2022 towards the beginning of its life cycle, as 5 years later you have at least 1, maybe 2 more years of receiving all of Apple's latest major software features. Now, if you're trying to determine if the iPhone 13 is a good value in the used market in 2026, I'd say absolutely. You can generally get them between $200 and $250 here in early 2026 on sites like eBay, and I think an iPhone with a very current, premium feeling design and user experience with at least 1 or 2 more years of major iOS update support in its future for around $200 to $250 is a solid value. Now, I will say the 1 generation newer iPhone 14 costs just a little bit more than the iPhone 13 in the used market at around $220 to $270. And if you can pay that little bit extra, or sometimes even the same amount of money, depending on what kind of deals you can find, I would recommend going for the iPhone 14 instead of the 13 if you're looking for a used iPhone in this price range. Just simply for the reason that the iPhone 14 has 1 extra gig of RAM and 1 additional GPU core in the A15 chip. This isn't something that you'll likely ever notice with typical usage in terms of performance at all. However, there's a slight chance the iPhone 14 might get an additional year of major iOS update support as a result of this extra gig of RAM and additional GPU core. So for that reason alone, I'd say it's worth an extra $20 to $30 for the iPhone 14 in case that does happen. But it very well might not, as it's still the A15 chip in both the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14, and besides this, there's hardly any considerable differences between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14 anyways. The iPhone 13 marked the beginning of the current era of new iPhones being iterative updates, as ever since the iPhone 13, it's clear that Apple has come pretty close to perfecting the iPhone, from the aesthetics, practicality, and durability of its physical design, to the display tech, to the battery performance. I think there's a reason a lot of people view the iPhone 13 series iPhones as when the iPhone got perfect. It can be easy to forget that the product category of the smartphone is still relatively new, and the iPhone 13 represents the iPhone and arguably smartphones in general reaching maturity, which is something that older and more mature product categories such as laptops, desktop computers, and TVs reached years ago. I think it's clear that we've reached a point where the average consumer doesn't want or need any drastic changes with their iPhones. In the early days of smartphones, whether it was with the iPhone or its competitors, people usually wanted some major change, whether it was a much bigger screen, a much faster processor, or a drastically different design. But the iPhone 13 didn't need to be anything more than it is, as no one needed or asked for anything more than a perfected and refined version of everything a smartphone should be. The iPhone 13 marks the iPhone being all grown up for the most part, and how well it still competes against 4-year newer iPhones today is a massive testament to this. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.